This PSA was brought to you by the Peter G Show.
You may have second thoughts after the show.
Don't drink the Foster. We're really talented. We should get Oscars.
Just pick out a car, for Christ's sake.
No, I'm one. Hi, my name is Peter.
Yeah, I want.
Here's good.
Yeah.
Adam Perry.
I need to get back in the genie bottle.
Louis from Pennsylvania, you're on. He likes it. It's showtime.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorce dad, single dad, divorce dad, single dad, Peter G Show.
That's right. It's showtime. Greetings, Wednesday. And what better of a Wednesday it can be than Thanksgiving Eve Wednesday? I couldn't think of a better time to be doing what I'm doing tonight, when most everybody doesn't have to worry about getting up too early and going to work tomorrow. The holidays are really great, but they can be kind of detrimental to some, and we're going to talk about it tonight because at the end of the day, every day has got to be good, but a little more emphasis on the holidays, family oriented, things like that. And there's a lot of people that have great holidays, and some people just go through things. I think not some people, everybody at one point time or another is going to go through some stuff. It's just life. It's inevitable. And tonight we're going to talk about it. I'm going to have on this show jasonjday on this show, and he's tonight we're going regular guy. A lot of times I have book authors, or I'll have higher profile people, and we're getting back down to our grassroots because normally I have people that talk about these issues, but now I'm going to have a person talking about his issue, which is great. We're leading by example. So another Getting Through the Holidays, folks, right here on Thanksgiving Eve on Life of Peter G, the Peter G Show, every Wednesday night, God willing, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast, like clockwork, right here. So I'm glad you're going to be tuning in and spending some time with us, because I love the people that watch the show, but not everybody can watch the show sometimes because life is busy. So don't forget, if you can't watch the show, you can always put an earbud in your ear, Google Peter G Show podcast, pick one of the many platforms, the iTunes podcast, Spotify, Amazon Music podcast, whatever, and just take the show on the road with you. Listen to it while you're in the car. Listen to it while you're at work. I know lots of people can work and get some education or some entertainment or all the above at the same time. It's good stuff. I love when you watch. I think sometimes the facial expressions, sometimes there's some things that you really need to be checking out, but it's the next best thing to be in there, and I think that you should do it. And don't forget, please, I'm having to overemphasize on this because, again, I've been having tons of trouble with YouTube. They punish me for talking the truth at times, or bringing people on that talk the truth, and they have a selective narrative, and they punish me and throttle me down. But I want you to subscribe to YouTube. I want to build that YouTube channel. It's something I never really cared much about, but now I want to show them. It's like, you know what? We, the people, want to listen and watch the show. My viewers want to have another alternative, and YouTube's an easy way to go to. And when we come on, it alerts you that we're on, and you can catch a show, or you can catch it on demand anytime. But you need to just hit the subscribe button. That's most important. It's free. Okay, do that for me, please. I would really appreciate that. That's super important. It was a beautiful day today, which is turning into a nice evening. I don't know about where you guys are at. Some people are shoveling snow already, and all I can say is God bless you, more power to you, because I turned in my shovel a long time ago. So that stuff's going. But anyway, I'm going to have Jason on in just a couple of minutes, and we're going to talk about his situation and the holidays, and I'll let him explain. But let's just put it this way. It's really, it's about all the above, and everybody goes through a first holiday here and there, and I'm going to let him explain it, and then we'll talk about it and all that stuff. But once again, you're not alone. And that's why I do this, because everybody thinks when they're going, why me, why me? And it's not, I get it. It is why you, but it's why a lot of people. So I promise you that there's a method to this madness, and it's all good. So I don't want you to go away. All right, what we're going to do is, what else do we got here? Just check. Oh, next week, almost forgot. Next week, I'm going to go back and have a nice you and I show. I'm going to open up the phone lines and give a few choice callers, whoever gets to the phone, just a couple. And I'm going to let you call in. We haven't done that in a long time. I think I want to start bringing that back around a little bit. You know, if there's something going on you want to talk about in your life, or if there's something that you want to talk about in my past shows, you have a comment, you want to tell me what I'm doing right or wrong, you know, tell me you love me or you hate me. Okay. I'm in, because I want to talk to a few people that you know love to watch the show, and if you're brave enough to call in, we'll put the phone line up and the number, and you'll be able to call in, and I'll take a couple of calls for the show. Plus, I have some other things. I kind of got another great announcement next week. I mean, something that happened for us, me, the show, but that's next week, November 30th, right? Yes, November 30th, right here on the Peter G Show. It'll be just us. We're gonna open up the phone lines. It's the holidays. Anything you want to get off your chest, talk about, I'll be here. I'm listening. Okay. And I think that'll be good, because I keep getting people to say, hey man, I really wanted to call you, but you weren't taking calls. And then I'll open up the phone lines and nobody will call. And that's why I stopped doing calls. You know, just come on, get your cojones and get them in line, and let's make those calls. It's really, nobody can see you. So many people go like, oh, I don't want people to know it's me. It's like, yet you air all your stuff out on Facebooks or you know, Instagrams and all that kind of stuff, but yet you're afraid of coming on here. I'm the least of the problem, you know. In fact, I'm probably part of the solution. Hi, my name is Peter. I love you. All right, coming up in just a minute. But first, before we get Jason on here, I need to pay the bills. So I'll be back in just about a minute or two, and we're just going to have a quick word from my sponsors and be right back.
Let us help you with the high price of fuel. Hello, I'm Ty Thompson at CleanStarProducts.com. We can optimize your engine, saving you money and gas. Here's how. Our program works the same with gasoline and diesel engines. Whether you're using a car pack or SUV pack, the instructions are the same. Add 1 bottle to your engine oil, and each time you change your oil, add 1 bottle to the fuel tank each and every fuel fill-up. It's that easy. You get 10% fuel economy on average, lower emissions, and increased horsepower. DX1 sells for $2 an ounce, so for just a few dollars a fuel tank, you can optimize your engine, saving you money and gas. Come on, give it a try. It's the finest green-grade oil in the world from a California environmental company. You're going to feel it when you drive. Order online today. We'll get it out right away. CleanStarProducts.com/shop.
That's right, folks. CleanStarProducts.com with their infamous DX1 driver. This is a solution to your, keeping your car and letting it run as optimally great as it can, okay? Let's face it. Cars are really friggin' expensive. Gasoline, over the top, ridiculous, okay? You want your car to run its best. You want to take care of your car, and you know, it's really not that hard. And again, here's these guys from Clean Star Products with this DX1 driver. You pour this in your crankcase, every clean oil change. Look at how little this bottle is, all right? So it's basically smaller than the size of my hand. And you know what they say about big hands, right? All right, so grab a bottle of this. You put it in, that's it. Put a bottle in your fuel system to clean out your fuel system. Not only are you going to have your car, saving it and taking care of it and letting it run cleaner, you're going to get up to 10% better fuel economy. It's that simple. And they're a California-based company, and you know how hard it is to pass things in California. I know. I live there. But easy solution. It's made in America, people, not in China. So if I were you, and if you want to learn more about Clean Star Products, just go to www.cleanstarproducts.com. They'll talk to you. Ask them whatever you want to ask them about. But to me, it's an inexpensive solution, taking care of your car and making it last, as long as it can. Get your money's worth out of vehicles. They're not an investment. They are definitely just tools, and they cost a lot of money. But that's it. Tell them the Peter G Show sent you, and see where you go from there, because I'm happy with the stuff, and that's why I talk about it. So I'm very grateful for them for sponsoring the Peter G Show, and the Peter G Show uses the product and has found it's just like taking care of your body. And if you love yourself, you'll take care of your body and your car, because nobody wants to be on footmobile, folks. If that car don't run, you don't get to work. Give them a buzz. Let them know you're there. Again, Clean Start Products. So now where are we going? Let me checking on things. All right, I think we're going to get Jason in here. I'm feeling good. I think he's feeling good too. I don't think he does this for a living. But, he was brave enough to come on and just talk about things because it's life. So this is what we're going to do. Jason, if you're ready, nod your head for me. All right, he's ready. He's ready. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to bring on from the Gulf Coast.
Hey, Peter.
Hey, man.
Happy Thanksgiving to you.
Thank you, and to you too. And we're going to talk about all that because we want it to be happy. And but first, I want to go as far as saying that I found you somehow or another. You were on one of my pages of the Peter G Show, and I don't know how long you've been on there, but you've been on there, and that's how I found you. And I pay attention to Facebook. Facebook is where I originally started from, and people posting for showing you what kind of food they're eating and their beautiful lunch or dinner, or pray for my mother who's having a surgery, or, everything from A to Z. And that's how you got my attention, because you started posting things that were a little bit eye-catching to me. And I reached out to you, and you listened to me, and you spoke to me and said, and I don't know a whole lot about this. We're saving it for the show, but I watched you kind of do a roller coaster. One day, everything is glorious. The next day, I don't know when we're going to get into it, but I saw you dive bombing, and I don't know what your numbing, drug of choice is, or alcohol, or anything like that. But we're going to get into it because relationships are a mind screw, and now some people suffer from things like losing a parent and things, but that's something that everybody has to go through, unfortunately. And then there's even worse than that. So tonight, what are we talking about? What's going on? We're going to be talking to you about your relationship. Is that marriage? Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I want to start by asking a couple of normal questions. Let's get everybody in. I'll tell you what, why don't you just take like 30 seconds or so and just tell everybody who you are and, what you do, and just, how long, if you were married, and, what your issue is that we're going to be talking about tonight. How's that?
That sounds great, Peter. Now, my name's Jason Day. I live down here on the Gulf Coast in Florida and Pensacola. I own a landscape company / development company. We were married, I guess it would have been about 3 years. And, like Peter said, it's been rough the last 5 months. I mean, up and down. And, but, there's always something to be grateful for. I mean, there's a lesson in everything. And, sometimes the pain is kind of rough. But, we get through it. I got a great church family. I got a great recovery community that I'm involved in. And one day at a time, they help me get through it. But
I get it. Now here's the thing. Because I'm gonna start picking things apart. We'll get everything. Let's go back in your past. You said how old are you? You're in your mid
48.
Okay, well, you're in midlife. Okay, but that's good. You look younger. Okay.
Well, thank you.
Well, that's okay. You keep it as long as you can. I'll tell you what won't make you look younger is abuse to your body, and and stress. Stress is a killer. And I've talked about it many times on the show on how damaging. It's slow and subtle, but finally, when it does finally hit you and takes you down, it's really hard to bounce back from that. So that's why we're going to talk about this stuff tonight. But also, you were a Marine, correct?
I was.
How many years?
4.
4 years. And what'd you do in the Marines?
I was with the infantry.
Yeah. So how long ago was that? How old were you when you were in the Marines?
Oh, I was in my 20s.
I got you. And what made you decide to? I mean, that great move. I mean, thank you for for being that guy, as many feel on this show. But what made you decide to join the Marines?
Well, honestly, it was kind of a pride thing. My whole family was in the Army, and I was a kind of a rebellious child, in my teen years. So I decided I was gonna outprove everybody and join the Marine Corps, and it was a good decision. I mean, it was some of the best times of my life.
All right. Well, fair enough. I mean, and it definitely does give you structure at some point. I had a pastor on here about a month ago, and he was a foster child who went into the Marines. I mean, and he turned out well, and now he's giving beyond belief, selflessly to the homeless and things like that. And he's, in his 60s. But not a bad thing. So anyway, thank you for doing what you did. There's, so many people that just take it for granted, but
Surely.
yeah. And all right, so you were in the Marines, and then you ended up, down in the Gulf Coast, and I see you on my page, and I see a lot of stuff going on, and I'm trying to put it together because you're talking in puzzles, kind of, or posting in puzzles. And let me ask you a question: do you drink?
No.
At all?
At all.
Haven't. I mean,
Haven't.
this is no. There's. I'm shocked because, and I'm not saying I'm shocked, but from the sound that I was reading from you, it sounded like you're having one of those lonely weekends and go get plastered, and then your head starts screwing with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The thing with the, it doesn't matter how lonely. I mean, there's a recovery phrase: halt, hungry, angry, lonely, tired. When you experience one of them four things, it's probably a good bet that you need to go to a meeting or call somebody or whatnot. My years of drinking, I've been homeless because of my drinking. I've drank up a couple of very successful companies. Been to prison, not once but twice because of my drinking. And it just comes to a point in your life when you're sick and tired of being sick and tired enough that you make that decision, and then you just got to stay the course, one day at a time. I mean, there's nothing that a drink has ever made better. It may numb the pain for a minute, but guess what? I wake up the next morning with a hangover. It's nice these days that I drive down the street and I don't have to worry about the police behind me, or I don't have to worry about a DUI or the hangovers or the missing work because I'm, still drunk in the morning when I get up. I don't miss them days,
Let me ask you a question though. What year did you stop drinking? And don't tell me last week.
Wow, 2017.
Okay, good. So you get into a relationship. You say you're married for 3 years, okay? But how long was the total relationship? Because you probably
see that was the problem I had. And recently I've been doing a lot of soul searching, and I found I went to a conference this past weekend over here in Alabama at a church, and they spoke on soul ties and codependency. I had a really serious savior complex. I don't know if it was making up for my past, and the guilt and shame and whatnot. But, I'm not saying that we didn't have good times, because we did. We had plenty of great times. But we were together a very, very short time. We were engaged, we were married, and it was, just a whirlwind. And both of us made a lot of rash decisions.
I get it. I mean, okay. So I just want to get to the root of, not the root, but I want everybody to understand, where you're coming from and the why, because the why is really, to where you start understanding all this why. But so, would you say that you're kind of, what do you call that? Not sporadic, but in the moment you just get over the top and make not irrational decisions, but maybe I can't believe my ex-wife was the exact same way. I mean, if she walked into a car lot before long, she was almost buying a car, and she impulsive.
Yes.
So you would. Okay. But the thing is, because that's why I was betting that you drank and again, I'm just guessing, but because a lot of people make bad decisions when you got a buzz going, and a lot of people try to fill a hole, and they try to fill it with the alcohol, regardless of the aftermath afterwards, and I don't know. I mean, by the way you were talking, I was finding that. Now I'm found that I find you filling that hole. I don't know how long you've been religious, but you're pretty like expressive with, you found God and or Jesus and going to all these things. How long has that been going on?
Uh, I mean, I guess it was probably about 2007. I found God. I'd gotten some trouble, and they put me in jail, and I was in jail about 2 days, and I was itching. I thought, maybe the detergent or something, and come to find out I had scabies. I caught scabies in jail, and they put me in solitary confinement for 10 days. An alcoholic, a lot of people in general, I mean, you don't even have to be an alcoholic. I mean, when the devil can get you alone and isolate you is really when he torments you. And I spent about 3 days in that solitary, and I mean, the devil was really having his way with me. And one of the guards come up, and she asked me, she says, do you know anybody that works at this jail? And I said, no, ma'am, I don't. And she asked me like 3 times. It was really starting to aggravate me. And I said, no, ma'am, I don't know anybody that works at this jail. She said, well, that's the warden, and he's coming to see you. And I said, the warden's coming to see me. Okay. Well, I see him walking up the steps, and he had a Bible in his hand, and it sure looked like my Bible. And he gets up there, and he said, do you know Pat Atchison? I said, well, yes, sir. I said, that's my pawpaw. Well, come to find out, my pawpaw was this guy's first sergeant in Vietnam. So he brought me my Bible, and it sat there for about 2 days, and I just opened it up, about in the middle, and I seen Psalm 46:10, and it said, be still and know that I'm God. My life changed that day. I mean, it was a mountain and valley experience, over however many years that is. But, I'm not really religious. I have a relationship with God. To me, it's a difference.
But when you say he brought you your Bible, what do you mean by your Bible?
My Bible, I had a Bible that somebody bought me when I was, a young kid, like when you're first born and they write your little name in it and all that. And
All right.
and that's what it was. My papa had held on to that all them years. And, he just figured that was a good time that maybe I needed it. And he was right. It planted a seed in me,
Gotcha. See, I find, and I've talked about this many times as well, and I'll say it again because you can't reach everybody, but you can try. And the thing is that I find a lot of people will cop religion when they're going down in flames, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. But the thing is, more so than any, I've been on airline, plane on the airlines when we're having bad turbulence, and you're hearing somebody, oh God, please just get us down to the ground. I swear. And then all of a sudden you're down. It's like, okay, thanks, and see you later. So to talk about this stuff and to keep it with you, through your life is two different things. And you were telling me that you've been this guy like this since 2000, the early 2000s.
Yeah, about 2007, 2006. We call them foxhole prayers.
Yeah.
We don't want God until something's terribly wrong in our life, and then we want to cry out to him. See, but that's the difference. Happiness comes from the root word of happening. As long as everything is happening in Jason's life, then Jason's happy and all this. We'll see. The difference is joy. Is my life can be falling apart, and I still have joy because I know that all things are possible with God. I read that word, but I believe that word. It wasn't that way when I first started. But I got a simple formula: action plus experience equals faith. When I start reading that word and start applying some of the principles in it, and even stuff in AA literature, and start practicing them principles, stuff starts happening in my life that I know I am not doing, that God is doing for me what I could never do for myself.
How hard was it for you when you finally decided to stop drinking?
Very.
How hard was it? I mean, you keep, because I got a friend right now in your town that he's gonna either hurt somebody and himself, or it's getting that bad, and he knows, but yet he just can't take that final step. And I'm having a real hard time with him. And I love this kid, or he's not a kid, he's a man now. We're all older, but so how hard was it?
Very, very hard. I mean, I've been a problem drinker, alcoholic since I was 15 years old. It took me, well, I mean, I've had, several long-term amounts of sobriety. I've had 3 years, several times. I mean, over the last 20 years, I've been sober a lot more than I've been drinking. But, the thing is we just have to get to that point. And I mean, everybody's bottom is different. I mean, you don't necessarily have to be homeless in a gutter to, a bottom. I mean, everybody's bottom's different. We have that awakening where we wake up and we're just tired of it. We are just tired of it. And, for me, I mean, like I said, I was homeless for a couple of years in Jacksonville. Been to prison twice. That couldn't keep me sober, because I wasn't ready. I had to become ready. And, one day at a time.
Sometimes ready is too late.
Sometimes.
Okay.
Sometimes people don't get an opportunity, Peter. They don't.
That's true. And that's what I'm worried about, this friend of mine.
Absolutely.
I've been on him. I'm trying to make that weekly phone call to say, did you make that appointment for that doctor, for professional help? And it's like, yeah, I'm getting to it. I was just really busy this week. And yet they know how much damage they're doing to themselves. And they know that and he's trying to keep his marriage together. And it's really putting a lot of pressure on the whole deal. And I don't understand. I would have sworn that you were going back to fill the hole by the sound of some of your flip-flops. And so what goes on in your head? I mean, it's the lonely spots. It's when your life around you is quiet and your brain starts thinking too much. Am I wrong or right on this?
No, you're absolutely right. But it's, for me, I mean, and everybody's different. It's the isolation. But when I isolate myself, that's when I open myself up to the devil. I mean, I just moved from a house down in Perdido. I lived, a half a mile from the beach, and I used to go down to the beach. But when them moments happen, I have a choice to make. I can either call somebody and be brutally honest on how I'm feeling, or I can, leave myself to my own devices and I can go pick up that drink or whatever, knowing that it's not going to solve anything. We have a hole inside of us. Nothing on the outside is ever going to be able to fill that. It was meant for the Spirit of God to inhabit. And that's the only thing that's going to satisfy and bring that joy that we crave. Pain is inevitable, but there's promise in the pain. I think C.S. Lewis said, pain is God's microphone, because pain is not, I don't know how to word this. Pain is not natural to us, and it hurts, emotional pain and even physical pain, but it all stems from that spiritual pain of we try to fill that hole with everything, in the world, and it never satisfies. We're still searching for more.
Yeah, it can be detrimental. Again, you let your brain run with all these crazy thoughts and empty. And a lot of people have a hard time with being alone, like even through COVID and stuff. Like personally, I'm I don't have that issue, and I thank God for that every day because I don't mind it. But you were in this relationship, and you got married kind of quicker than most. But I've seen a lot. I've seen a lot of success in that too. Sometimes you go, wow, I would have never figured that, because to me, I take my time, and even then there's no promise in it. I'm living proof that still doesn't matter. But so you did that, and apparently now, I mean, it's tearing you up. You're married 3 years. At least you don't have children that you're having to split in half. You want to talk about a heartache or a ball breaker or a mental mind screw? Have kids in the mix, and the kids are getting pulled apart because of. Let me ask you this: are you talking to your ex, or you guys are like just split and like?
No, we don't communicate. I believe both of us need time to heal, but it's not tearing me up. I mean, I made peace with it. One thing that I had to learn the hard way is is if I keep looking back into the past, I'm never going to have a future. And my whole life has been categorized by just that. You know, I'll let stuff from 10 years ago affect me, you know, not necessarily even resentments, just, you know, bad memories or guilt and shame. And I just don't, I don't allow that to run my life anymore. I just refuse to.
Okay, then tell me then what is upsetting you, because over these past 2 months, something is pulling your chain and getting you to where you're checking out in whatever way form you choose, whether it's with, you know, just mentally or however. So something's yanking at you. Is it your past, or is it your just recent separation because you're not used to being alone now?
I spent about 5 months on a horrible roller coaster, up and down, up and down. One day I'm fine, the next day I'm a mess. And you know, like I said, it was last weekend. I went to this conference, and one of the speakers, he was a Marine for 30 some years. His story and mine were almost the exact same. And when he was talking about, you know, some of the stuff he was talking about, I mean, it hit me like a ton of bricks. And I talked to him after the meeting, and, you know, I come to that point that, you know, I guess called a savior complex. You know, I wanted to save her. You know, she had a pretty rough life. And, you know, I think that savior complex of me wanting to save her, you know, stemmed from, you know, I was married before. I mean, I have 2 older children. One is 27 and one is 25. And, you know, I wasn't a good husband. I wasn't a good father. And over the course of my life, that really bothered me, because, you know, we all have this self-ideal of who we think we are. And we do know better. And we don't live up to our own ideals that we put in our own heads. So, you know, I really believe, you know, that's where it stemmed from. And I have a lot more joy over it. I got a little booklet here that I bought. This is called Understanding Codependency. And, you know, I've been studying through that, and you know, it's really helped me a lot, you know. Even this last month, I'm nowhere near as bad as I was in first 3 or 4 months. But I thought my life was over.
Okay, but you still didn't answer my question though. What was the key factor in these last couple of months? What specifically was like, this is just taking me over the edge? I mean, only so that way we can understand, like, what is triggering you to be unhappy for those moments currently?
Because I missed her. I missed the life, you know. You know, we had a good marriage. I mean, we did. We hardly ever argued. You know, even this, you know, I'm not going to go into too much detail, you know about it, but it was outside issues that you know, really started this, you know, on the downhill slide.
Look,
you know, ex-husbands and you know, whatnot. And yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not going to go too much into that, but you know, I just missed her. It was hard. See, there's a difference between being alone and being lonely. I mean, everybody needs their alone time to spend time with God, or just, you know, reflect whatever they're going to reflect on. But, you know, what was really hard for me is, you know, I was used to coming home from work and her there and the dog and, you know, my stepdaughters. And you know, I'd come home to this big house down in Perdido Key at the beach, you know, and walk in there. And I mean, the dog's not there to greet me, and, you know, nobody was there. And I had a hard time with it. You know, I could be gone at work all day long and have the best day ever, and walk into that house, and it'd be just like a black cloud followed me into that house. I seen her everywhere. You know, and that was the hardest thing for me. So, you know, I you know, had to get rid of that house. I mean, I had to. It was that house was very detrimental to my sobriety, my sanity, my everything.
All right. When you got divorced, it takes 2 to get married and only 1 to get divorced. I mean, who decided to pull the plug, just out of curiosity?
Well, she we talked about it, and actually, if I probably would have left her alone, I mean, I don't know what would have happened. We probably wouldn't have got divorced, but I just told her that I wasn't gonna. She needed to pick which side of the fence she was gonna get on and stay there. That I wasn't gonna do this for months and months and months. we both go to Planet Fitness here in Pensacola. So I ran into her one day and I gave her the money and I told her, I said, to go file for divorce. And it was crazy. The day that I was served the divorce papers, she had actually pulled up to the house to get something. And I signed them right there. And, she was kind of shocked. She called me later that night and she said, why'd you sign them so quick? I said, well, why did you file them? But it was more of them rash decisions, looking back. I'm not thinking if counseling or whatever, because one thing is you can't be unequally yoked. You just can't be.
Look, trying to stay married under a regular, normal relationship is tough as it is.
Absolutely.
It's tough because there's all kinds of things coming at you, finances, and now you're saying mixed marriages. Step kids could be the best thing in the world, or put nails in your coffin because nobody will ever replace their other parent. And there's so many different variables and combinations to all this. And there's a lot of things that can go wrong. And for everything that goes right, people, the wrong is what's going to make everything explode. And so there you are. It's once again, it's life, unfortunately.
That's it.
And we're part of it. But I saw you again. I see you daily, and I see that you're over the top. With not over the top, but you're excited about your religion and things like that. Now, I had a friend of mine very close. I consider myself blessed. I have a lot of people in my life, but at one point, somebody very close to me discovered crack, which I never would have thought. And yeah, Oof is right. And it took him from being normal, we all partied and things like that in our earlier days, but it started getting the best of him to where he's lying and trying to, get money, and it was overbearing. And then one day, I don't know how, but he found Jesus, and I'm glad for him. But then he got really, he dove into it so deep. I guess you have to, maybe, but it was just over the top. And he's trying to get me to go to church, his church with him and things like that. And I'm saying, hey, I've been religious. I just don't talk about it a whole lot, but I'm like that subtle, but it's been with me, instilled in me, and I'm very proud of it in a lot of ways since a child. So I have that with me. I know he discovered it and he's but I'm good. I'm okay. But he just, some people just run with the ball and they just get overdose in it. And I don't know if there's too much, but to me, it's I keep it to I talk about it when need be or something like that. But some people need to have it way up at this level to keep them from going back to where they came from. So I see that you do a lot now. You're active very much. So that's why I didn't know whether this was newly found. And, because let's face it, you got to be experienced with newbies. If somebody new's coming in from the, issues like this, they tend to be super excited. And the question is, how long can they stay excited?
Well, the thing is, when I meet a newcomer or even talk to somebody on the street or whatever, I tell them three things. You're not alone. You are loved and you have purpose. And then you show them by your actions that you do care about them. And I've met, and I don't want to offend anybody, but, Bible thumpers that, they want to, preach a whole sermon to you, about what you ought to do, but be out in their own lives. I would rather just show somebody that, look, I really do care about you. I have no motives, no false intentions that I really care about you, because I know that there's a better life out there, without keeping God in the forefront of my life. And that's why I try to put motivational stuff on Facebook, because if God wasn't first in my life, Peter, I'll tell you what, I would not be sitting right here with you right now. I would be sitting down at the bar with all the guys shooting pool and stuff, and
or worse.
But like I said, sitting here talking with you and keeping God first, guess what? I don't have to worry about going to jail tonight, Peter. I don't have to worry about a DUI. I'm going to wake up and have a nice Thanksgiving tomorrow with a bunch of people, and life's good today. And I got to give God all the credit, because if I didn't keep him first in my life, it wouldn't be this way. There's no telling where I would be. Jail's institution or death.
Well, but you got to give yourself the credit too, because maybe God or no God, it's called free will, and you have to make that choice. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So don't count yourself
Sure.
short, because God has always been,
Oh no.
whether you believe or not, there's always some spiritual energies and things like that.
Yep.
But if you didn't make the choice to say, this is what
Right.
I'm going to do, and I don't know if that's God making you, because obviously you can do wrong, so it can't be God, because you have a choice.
Sure.
Yeah.
I
Let's
have
talk
to make that choice every morning when I get up, Peter. I have to make a choice on who I'm going to serve and how I'm going to live my life that day. You know, some days are rough. You know, there's the phrase one day at a time. Sometimes it's a minute at a time. You know, it's just life, though. You said that it's just life. Life happens. I mean, that's just the way that it is. It's not going to be a perfect, straight line. I mean, you're going to have the mountains and the valleys. You know, the whole thing is try to make them a little bit smaller where you're not way up on the mountain one day and then dropping off into a valley. Because I mean, the first 3 months of my separation, that's exactly how I was.
And look, and again, you're not alone is the correct. I say that daily,
Absolutely.
weekly on this show, because everybody goes through those emotions.
Absolutely.
With relationships, and especially, like, again, you want to talk about tore up, wait to, and well, you have a couple of kids, but that's a whole different relationship. And the thing is, when you're torn from your kids on a holiday and it's your first year, and it's like, screw you, and and you're sitting there alone in a parking lot. I mean, again, I've lived this stuff, and it's a mind screw. Let's talk about friends. Did you or do you have people outside of your church? I mean, like, I thank God every day for the people that I friggin' wore them out, and they just listened and let me blow. Do you have those kind of people in your life?
I most certainly do. I mean, there's several of them that are watching right now. I mean, I have some really, really good people in my life, and that does make a difference. Having that network that, they don't judge me. They don't judge me for my past. They don't. They're just there to love me, and I'm really grateful for them people. But I have a very, very, very good support system, and that makes all the difference.
Well, you need that. And again, there's a lot of people that don't have that. And sometimes family doesn't want to know about it. They go, oh my God, if I got to listen to him again, and this is, so if you don't have somebody, this is one of the main purposes of, at least in my mind, of doing shows like this, for possibly catching people who don't have anybody to talk to, and at least they can listen to somebody talking about it and go, hey, I thought that was just me, because everybody thinks it's just them. They came up with it. You said it earlier in the show. Somebody did it way before you. It wasn't, you didn't invent this stuff. But
Right.
it's detrimental, and it can take you down big time.
Most definitely.
Wow. Okay. So the people that are your friends, are they outside of your church, or just like friends that you kind of grew with, or how is that?
Well, I got a whole myriad. I mean, I have some really close friends from church. I have some really close friends from AA. I have some childhood friends that are back in my life. But one thing, I became complacent. Even all the years that we were together, like I said, I'm not going to say that it was all bad or it was all good, but I became complacent. And a lot of them people that I used to be in touch with, I wasn't really in touch with them as much anymore. And one thing through this, I have found out how many people do care about me and love me, and that makes the difference. Because I mean, I have, my phone doesn't stop during the day. I probably I get 150 Facebook messages a day, from people just, good morning, or how are you today, or I was thinking about you, and a lot of these people, they're very sincere about it, and I really appreciate that, because when I have them bad moments and I'm down in that valley, all I got to do is pick my phone up, and that's where that choice comes in. I can either pick that phone up, or I can go down to, the local bar, or local convenience store, and pick up a 12-pack. I mean, it's my choice. It's my choice.
What kind of beer?
What I'm going to do.
What kind of beer?
Bud Light.
Okay. Tastes great, less filling?
No, that's Miller Light.
Oh, sorry. Sorry.
That's Miller Light. That's Miller Light, Peter.
Sorry. Well, it's been a while. So sorry, I gotta break it. I gotta break it up a little bit. Let me go back a little bit further, since you mentioned it. You said you were married previous, and you got 2 children in their 20s, correct?
Yes.
Do you talk to them at all?
Oh, absolutely every day. I mean, my oldest daughter, her mom and I were kind of high school sweethearts. You know, I got out of boot camp, and we got married on the leave after that, and we moved to North Carolina. And when I got out of the Marine Corps, we went back up to New York, and I went back to college. But my drinking was more important than my family, and so I just left her. I abandoned her. I abandoned my kids. And, once I did sober up and started getting some of that truth in me, it really ate me up, how I was, because I was just so blinded, to the truth. But, my oldest daughter, when I was in prison, she wrote me a letter. I hadn't talked to her since she was a kid. And she wrote me a letter. I still have the letter here. I read it every once in a while. And she said, because we used to go to church. I used to do the religious thing. I went to church every Sunday because that's what people expected me to do. I didn't go there for Jesus. I went there because that's what everybody expected me to do. That's what good men do, is they go to church on Sunday. Well, I mean, it doesn't do any good if I go to church on Sunday and I'm on my phone the whole time looking at what's going on in the NFL after church. Right. But anyhow, my daughter wrote me this letter, and she said, I remember you and Mom used to take us to church and prayers and all this. And she said, I prayed and prayed and prayed for my daddy to come home, and you never did. And it took her 10 years to talk to me, but now I talk to her on a regular basis. I have a 5-year-old granddaughter that Kate sends me pictures, and as far as my son is sitting in jail in New York right now because he does not want to make a choice to do right. He does not want to look at my example of making bad choices and what it did. So he's currently sitting up there in jail right now for a drug-induced offense. And I talk to him 3 or 4 times a week and try to give him some encouragement. I don't preach to him. I just tell him, you're not alone. You are loved, and God has a purpose for you. But
so you got a relationship with both of them. I mean,
yes.
You're back to talking. You've made your apologies, and
yes.
they've accepted, and they talk to you. So
yes.
you have a chance. I mean, you've got
yes.
that chance. Okay, that's
Absolutely.
good. I find that if you got somebody who's got in a drug, messing with drugs and things like that, unfortunately, unless you get them out of there, they're going to just go right back to where they came from and possibly even die. And that's the sad, because again, in your area, I know a gazillion people. And I've watched them all go down a lot of them go down the wrong road. And one friend of mine who I used to play music with was down in South Florida and this guy he worked out all. I was shocked to find out that drugs got him. And another friend went and yanked him out of there, and he brought him to where you live. And it was just a matter of time where he sought out where to go find the drugs there, and eventually died. And it just horrible. I mean, the people you love, especially your own children, and it happens. So you don't give up on that, and you got to try to figure out how to let him live a better life, because it's not going to be easy.
I agree. I mean, it's I'm very active in working with the homeless around here and the recovery community, and I mean the overdoses here, and just the panhandle of Florida. I mean, it's epidemic. I mean, it's horrible. What's going on? But
it's horrible everywhere.
It is everywhere.
Now you got the fentanyl. The fentanyl's killing everybody accidentally. Some are doing fentanyl intentionally, knowing that they're doing fentanyl, but most people are dying from accidental overdose because everything's mixed with fentanyl now. And you could be a grade A student and just think you're doing some little recreational something, and that's it for you, and that's scary as hell. So it's even more. Wow. So okay, you have a support system, and you talk to a lot of these people, and I heard something about you're that much into it that you're trying to. Was it me, or am I imagining that you claimed you want to start your own recovery or something like that?
Yeah, we're looking at a church building here in town where I really want to do some kind of recovery. I really believe that God called me years ago. I put together a program that I call the Quest to Become Recovered. It's like a broad overview of the Bible. I break it down into creation, fall, redemption, and return. And then, what the second part of it is the big, small picture on how the love story of the Bible applies to us. And, that's, I know that it works because that's how I got sober. When you're in prison, there's no AA meetings. Maybe once a week, maybe once a month. I mean, it's kind of on your own to get what you need to stay sober, because a lot of people, they think, oh well, you go to prison and it ought to be easy. It's not. I mean, you can do any kind of drug you want in prison. I mean, they make homemade hooch that will put to shame the strongest moonshine. And the worst part about getting sober in prison is it's always around you. I mean, you're in a dorm with 60, 70 guys that are smoking spice and crack and meth and anything that you can imagine you can get in prison.
Nice.
But yeah, I wanna do something like that and reach out to guys like me, and just all you can do is offer them the chance, Peter. That's it. Give them the opportunity, and that's it. They're either going to run with it or they're not. I mean, I did it for years. I get 2-3 years of sobriety, relapse. 18 months of sobriety, relapse. 6 months, relapse.
When you relapse, how long would you?
Today I just easier approach. It's one day at a time.
But when you would relapse, how long would you go? Weeks, months, years?
Sometimes, a couple days. Just enough. Towards the end of it, my binges would be a lot shorter because I couldn't stand how I was feeling. Finally, like I said, one day I just made a decision that I was done. And you have to be done. You have to, get down in the bottom of your gut. And I'm one of them guys, I don't think it's necessarily pride or fear or whatever it is, but I don't like asking people for help, Peter. I don't. And I had a hard time with that when, I would get lonely or irritable or something was bothering me and I'll be all in my feelings. Last thing I was going to do is pick my phone up and call anybody. But I've had to humble myself and call somebody, because if I don't call somebody, then left to my own devices, I mean, I have an alcoholic mind still. I'm going to go and get that quick fix right now. It's going to make me feel better for the moment until I wake up tomorrow. And usually, I'm a blackout drinker. So there's, you have no idea what I'm going to do, what I'm going to say to somebody, who I'm going to offend. That's just not living for God if you're, running around, drunk, offending people and this, that, and the other. I mean, I got to choose
What
each
professional
day,
help?
what kind of man I'm going to be.
I get it, but the thing is, now we've been talking about how you've been the religion helps you tremendously. It's your support and all that. Friends are support. Did you ever have to go for professional, like medical?
I did. I went through the drug court program here in Pensacola.
Yeah.
I violated probation. When I got out of prison, of course, I was on probation, and I violated my probation because of drinking. My probation officer just showed up one day and I was wasted. So 3 weeks later, they put a warrant for my arrest, and I went to jail, and they were going to send me back to prison. And that's when I made the decision. I wrote a letter to my lawyer telling them that I really wanted help. And they denied me. I'm a violent offender. I mean, all my charges are violent or gun charges. So, I had no drug charges, but so they didn't want to let me in. So I wrote him a really nasty letter, telling him that, I was, 40 some years old. I've never had help. I desperately wanted help. I did not want to drink anymore. I did not want to live the life that I was living. And he forwarded that letter to the state attorney, and I swore into drug court the next week. I believe it was 18 months, 24 months of drug court, never had a sanction. And it really helped me a lot. We'd go to group 3 or 4 times a week. I got professional psychological help to deal with some of my trauma from my past and negative emotions and whatnot. And it was a really good experience. Like I said, I mean, life's not perfect. Anybody that's completely happy all the time, I mean, I don't know, but
this wait a minute. This program that you went into, was it like you just go while you're working, or you were incarcerated or had to
No,
stay?
no. Yeah, it's after you get out of jail. I mean, so you keep a job, and I mean, there's mandatory recovery meetings that you got to go to every week, but it's they do individual plans based on what you need, and some are more strict than others. I mean, there's you got people that get in drug court that are coming down off of heroin. I mean, they might have to go to a clinic to get some other help. I mean, each plan is tailored to fit your needs. And me being an alcoholic, okay, I had to attend mandatory AA meetings, and the motivation, I guess, is if you got so many sanctions in drug court, they just send you back to jail. And I was looking at 4 more years in prison. But the thing about it, Peter, is I wasn't scared to go to prison, and I told the state attorney that I wasn't scared. I done been. I'll go do my time, but I just told her I need help.
Yeah.
Sending me to prison for 4 more years is not going to help me. I need to get help so I can put the bottle down, and put the bottle down for good, and live a good life.
Would you attribute that program to to a good portion of your success for that part of you?
Well,
no?
I mean, it's really hard to put a percentage on what's helped. I mean, I think doing everything that I've done, the recovery meetings and drug court helped me, the individual counseling and church helps me, and reading helps me. I mean, I don't just read the Bible or spiritual books. I mean, I read a lot of recovery oriented material. I talk to a lot of different people, and it's really hard to just nail down one thing that probably helped me the most. I mean, I think it's just a myriad of everything.
I guess my point being is, you asked them, you said you needed help, and that was the type of help that they were able to give you. So was it helpful, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
obviously,
absolutely.
Obviously you're not in
Yes.
jail anymore. Hopefully not going back to jail anymore.
No, I'm sure not.
Because you don't seem like a bad person, but it just seems like when alcohol gets involved, the old Jekyll and Hyde shit starts kicking in. And then you learn, it's like, well, that ain't really a good version of you.
No, absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not, buddy.
All right, well, listen to me. I told you earlier that time was going to fly really quick, and time has flown really quick.
Yes, it
I
did.
want you to, I'm going to give you a second to look into the camera and tell my viewers anything that you feel that is the most significant thing in your mind right now, to reach out and to feed others who might be going through problems that you might be going through. And then we're going to have to say goodbye. But any wisdom from what you've gotten out of your whole life to where you're at now, to where you're going, and how to keep on the right track, anything will be of value, I'm sure.
Well, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I'm going to impart any wisdom. It really is them 3 things. No matter what you're going through, you're not alone, and you have a purpose. Reach out to somebody. You're not alone. I isolated. I always thought that I was alone, that nobody cared. And that's just not the truth, and if anything, I mean, y'all hit me up on Facebook. I care. I'll talk to you, call you, whatever, talk to you on Facebook, but you're not going through this alone. You're not. I love you. And I firmly believe that God's got a purpose for each and every one of you, and that includes you. No matter how ashamed we feel, how guilty we feel, how regretful, the myriad of negative emotions that we go through. We've all been there, and thanse.
Wow. I may speak to you later about this one friend of mine that he just needs somebody to, besides his wife or something, because nagging isn't going to do it. And you get
I'd be happy to reach out to him and see what I can do.
Because he works, and how he keeps his job, I do not know. But I'm just scared to death for him and for anybody else, because he gets to a point of no return, and regrets it. But here comes another day, and he's not, and he's not that person. But he needs help, and I don't know what to do. I'm too far away to babysit, and and I would gladly do it, but you don't want a babysitter. You want somebody that can lead you, just get you to that next door. So
I'd be happy to reach out to him for you, Peter.
Well, if anything, good. I mean, like I said, these kind of talks do a lot of people good, but there's just like, that's what it's all about, really. It's the support system. You got to have some positive support. All right, look, I want to thank you for taking the time and just not even, it may not be bravery to you, but you'd be surprised how many people wish they had, they're just scared to come on camera and talk about things like this, which to me, does a million people good. And I hope to God that we do touch somebody, and that you did hit a nerve, and that somebody will look into it a little bit deeper and possibly save their own life as well as possibly somebody else's from things that you won't necessarily do. So I thank you for that. I do wish you all the best in the future. I will be keeping my eye on you.
I know you will.
I don't know how you got on my page, but you did, and I do truly believe that everything happens for a reason. And so that's how I found you. But the holidays are a little bit tougher than normal because we put emphasis on it. So just be around friends. It's not the end of the world. One thing that was told to me by a close friend, and he was right, but he says things will get better in time. Time heals all. It's just a matter of everybody's different as to how much time, and ultimately that's your decision. So consider yourself blessed in many ways that you're still here to live it and talk about it.
That's right.
All right. Well, look, ladies and gentlemen, right here, jasonjday, telling you like it is, his own story and living to tell about it, and that's a good thing. So I thank you very much. And again, this show will live on in infamy, and I would use it as lead by example is the way I say it. So I think this is a good moment, and I'm proud of you for doing what you do. Just keep up the good work, and we will be in touch.
Sir.
Believe me. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Good night.
Love you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy
And
Thanksgiving, brother.
Together through the holidays. Don't let the holidays. It's just another day. Every day is important.
That's right.
All right, brother. I'll talk to you soon. Here we go. There you have it. Oh, he just come there. He goes, Jason J. Day, right there. Right there in the flesh. Just a guy from another town with some problems, trying to work through it. And we're not perfect. He's had his ups and downs. But he's still here. And he's still positive on it. But it's hard. We have these breakdown moments. Everybody does, but there's still plenty of time and plenty of life left in him, hopefully. And I'm glad he came on this show to talk about it. I truly am. So if you happen to see him on Facebook or this and that, you give him a big thumbs up, or you give these videos a big thumbs up. Speaking of the videos, I'm glad for those of you that watch the Peter G Show. I love my viewers. I really do. But if you can't take, if you're kind of in a hurry, but you still want to listen because listening is great too, take the Peter G Show on podcast. Just Google Peter G Show podcast and look up whichever platform you want to watch the show. I mean, listen to the show on, whether it's iTunes podcast or Spotify, all the above. There, we're on over 20 something different platforms. It's good. Next best thing to be in there, but. Just so long as you're paying attention, that's what counts. I thank each and every one of you for watching Life of Peter G, the Peter G Show, on this beautiful Thanksgiving Eve. Just a reminder, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, Peter G Show YouTube channel. Please, let's start getting those numbers up over there, because I know a lot of you watch from Facebook, because we started on Facebook. I love you, but just take a second. You don't even have to watch it. Just go on there at that backup. I gotta get something across to these YouTube. The ones who throttle me down, that people want to see it, and quit squishing me. It's important. Don't forget, next week, just you and me. I'm going to take a few phone calls, Dan. I've got some people who've been meaning they want to talk and talk about a few things on the air for a few minutes. I'm going to give you the chance next week, November 30th, last day of the month. I think it is. And we're going to talk about, I'm going to open up the phone line, take a few calls, whether you want to talk to me about previous shows or about me, about you, the holidays, whatever was on your mind. That's what I want to do. And what's going on here? Let's see. Anyway, so yeah, we got a few mishaps. Peter, I thought this week was going to be on narcissistic abuse. Did I miss that one? Apparently you did, my dear. But here's the beauty of it. If you missed it, the shows are there. They live on forever. So just catch it. Narcissistic abuse. What show was that? Well, we had an attorney on last week. We talked about that. So maybe it was last week's show. But there's a million. I got a bunch of shows on that. Believe me, it's very popular. So, oh man, I see something. I see that the comments got hacked. Sex find XYZ. Find your love in your city. This is great. We're gonna have to get on that. So let's see what we can do about those guys. But anyway, so I just gotta get a kick out of all this stuff. Look at this. Now we got a relationship going on. Hey Gail. Hey, everybody wishing a happy Thanksgiving. Sorry, I'm getting lost in the whole deal. I want to sincerely wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. I do. Thanksgiving is all about love and families. I mean, some people don't have that in their lives, and reach out to people, smile at people when you see them. Life is short, and we really need a lot more love in the world. This is something that is lacking. We're getting so crazy divided. They're manipulating everyone, and then people are falling for it. So just let's have a great weekend, a safe weekend, because don't be out doing stupid shit. Okay, I love you guys, I really do, but don't let things go awry. And I wish I should do a show on Thanksgiving family disasters, because Lord knows I'm sure there's plenty of those too. But tonight we talked about things for the positive, and I want to stay positive, and that's what we do here at Life of Peter G, the Peter G Show, every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Central, and 9 p.m. on the East Coast, like clockwork, God willing, right here. So take us with you, watch us, just let me know what you think, and don't forget to subscribe to that YouTube channel, please. Just hit the button, it's free. My name is Peter G. I thank you for tuning in, spending your Thanksgiving Eve or whenever you're watching this with us. I truly appreciate that. Life is short, so you don't have to be an ass, but don't put up with a bunch of crap from people, but just take a deep breath before you speak. Life is short. I say that a lot because I don't know what's going on, but it's moving real quick, and make the best of it. A lot of people going through a lot of stuff. It's okay. As we said all through this show, you're not alone. So, as always, my name is Peter G, and I thank you for watching the Peter G Show. Have a great holiday weekend. I love you guys. I truly do. And peace out.
Peter G Show, Peter G Show, divorce dad, single dad, divorce dad, single dad, Peter G Show.